When I was asked to, talk on this panel, and when we spoke a couple months ago, the James Beard group and myself, there was something that kind of came up, a recent experience at that time that I kind of was a little bit visceral about. And it was an experience in which I was on a call with a bunch of operators, hospitality operators, maybe around like 15 of them. And we were talking about technology. And when we were talking about technology, everybody on the call was asking each other, saying, hey, do you use Restaurant 365? Do you like it? And they were saying, oh yeah, I love Restaurant 365. Or hey, do you use Margin's Edge? Oh no, I use Craftable, right? We love Craftable. We tried Margin's Edge, it didn't work. And although I think it's really important to network and get peer perspective on technology, and even anything kind of related to restaurant operations, you can't discount your personal needs, right? What you need in your operation is not what somebody else might need in their operation. And when it comes to technology, right, it's a huge, huge catalyst for operations. It can really make some material impact on your bottom line. But that person who's selling you that product's no different than your meat purveyor or from the Cisco rep, right? They're trying to tell you why their product's the best in the world and why you should use it and how it's going to be so beneficial for you. But what's vitally important is understanding your business and seeing how that technology can actually impact your business positively, right? Versus how it's been successful for a peer and then just assume that same success for yourself, if that makes sense. So what I wanted to just kind of look at very quickly, do like this, sorry. This is the amazing group, right? Anna, Daniella, and myself going to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to, kind of throw a little bit of a theory framework out there. Daniella and Anna are going to talk about some use cases, some of their experience, some of their expertise in the space. So what I spoke about before was every operation is different, right? There's millions of different types of hospitality operations, different type of restaurant concepts, right? Understanding how technology can empower your business is essential to understanding what technology is best for you. And I guess when I'm not in the hospitality space, I guess you call it daylighting. I daylight as a technology guy. I do like digital transformation for major corporations and things of that sort. So what we do in practice day in and day out is we do something what we call business requirements, right? We gather business requirements for an organization, try to understand what the technology needs to service and how it can best service the organization as a step to selecting technology. So, why is the project needed, or why do we need the technology, right? What do your users need to do from the system perspective, right? And what does the system need to do? So, let's give an example here, and I'll talk about a bunch of them on the next slide. But what's the pain point, right? Maybe is it like invoices are getting lost in the kitchen, right? Your accountant's saying like, hey, I never got that invoice from X, Y, or Z. The purveyor saying, hey, I'm going to put you on COD or cash terms, not allow you to kind of take an additional product. And you're saying, wait, I pay my bills all the time. So yeah, but there's this invoice that's 90 days late or 180 days late. And you say, well, wait a second, like I don't know about that invoice, right? Is that something that's going on in your operation? If that is, well, then maybe there's a technology that can do automated payment, right? Or a technology that can do digital invoice scanning. Right, that's something that will solve for a pain point that'll make your business more efficient, and something with that capabilities would work for you and maybe add value to the business. And that's something like a business requirement that you would need from a technology, and a reason why you would adopt a technology. This is something as a next step, right? It's called the business model canvas. And it's a theory or a framework to analyze your business. And again, I'm going to apologize in advance for getting a little bit theory on you here, but this is often a way that I look at businesses, and I think I'd encourage all of you to do the same thing. Look at your business in this light as well. It's a very kind of famous and readily available kind of framework. You can Google search it. I've seen them related to Tesla. I've seen them related to the Darden Group. I've seen them related to small businesses, owner, operator, et cetera. But what it is called the business model canvas. And the way it works is every business, right, has a key resource, right, a chef, an operator, a front door person, that does key activities, let's say bakes bread or makes cakes, right, that produces a value proposition, right, that they then give to the customer, right? So key people doing key activities, creating value, and then through a channel, whether that's third-party delivery, whether that's through online ordering, whether that's through dining within the location itself, uses that channel to deliver to that customer segment. That customer segment buys that product and creates revenue for the business, right? The more efficiently that these key activities are done by key resources, the better that you can get your cost structure within the business. So ultimately, the more revenue that you have than cost, the more profitability that you have, right? Really simple way to look at things. All of the stars here represent opportunities to optimize your business. If the key resources do the key activities more efficiently, you save cost. If the activities are creating a greater value proposition, you'll get more revenue from the customer segment. If the channels are optimized, well, then you can access more customers. If the resources are doing the activities at a greater, more efficient fashion, then it's cheaper to actually do those activities. So when I look at technology, I'll often look at a business model canvas and say, cool, let me understand this business through these segmentations and how the business operates, and let's see if I can get the technology to be a catalyst in one of these star areas. So let me give you an example real quick. If the key activity, right, is cooking food on the hotline, let's say making entrees, and that's done by key resources, but you're missing kind of inventory, things are going bad, right? You're not optimizing the turnover, you're not ordering correctly, then maybe an inventory management tool from a technology perspective would help in this crossover between the key activity, the key resource, and the cost structure. If you feel like you're not necessarily getting the customer relationship that you're looking for, that you feel like your clients aren't really coming back or returning to your business as much as they should, well, maybe a loyalty tool from a technology perspective would help catalyze, right, that relationship between the segment and your product. Let's just say here that, wow, the key activities that your team is doing aren't doing them efficiently enough to get that value proposition. Maybe an events management tool will work for you. Right, let's look over here and say, cool, maybe it's a marketing automation tool. Maybe it's an invoice automation tool. So every business, right, so like let's just take that Restaurant 365 example again and just say, cool, how do you like it? Well, I love it, right? Cool, you know what, I'm gonna do it too. That business might have an entirely different framework, right, as to how they operate and win in market. And maybe Restaurant 365 is invigorating or catalyzing that business here, but you don't have that deficit. You don't have that need. What you really need is maybe this deficit or greater channels, right? Or some other way that you can apply the capital that you have at your business to onboard technology to drive either greater cost efficiency or greater revenue for your business, right? That maybe the Restaurant 365 isn't the solution that you need today. Maybe you should be looking at a different tool in a different area because your pain points aren't as significant. So I guess I hope that makes sense. And just trying to frame it out and say, you know, well, there's a terminology, say a fool with a tool is still a fool, right? Meaning buying technology and putting it in your environment, just assuming it's going to change everything, is not the case. You have to understand your business, where you can empower your business, where the greatest opportunities are within your business, right? And then ultimately, what's right suited for you and your team? What are the requirements that you're looking for that this tool will satisfy? I've seen amazing use cases and amazing success with technology adoption in the hospitality industry, and you can really drive some huge numbers to the top line and to the bottom line. But I've also seen a lot of opportunities or a lot of situations where you onboard a tool, it's a headache for the team. It's a huge change management exercise to get people onboarded to it, and you can never really get that buy-in from the team. And 8 months or 9 months later, you're like, oh God, let's just go back to the old way and, I don't know, pick up the phone or use an Excel spreadsheet. So that's just a really big bandwidth depletion from the team. And what I guess I'm saying is, when we think about technology in the hospitality space, as in any industry, it's really important to understand what you are looking to get from that technology, how is that unique to your business, right? And then ultimately, what's the outcome that you're looking to achieve? Does it create greater revenue or greater cost optimization and bottom line? And then that's the business case to then say, hey, you know what? I want to explore this further. I want to maybe consider adopting it. And then if you do consider adopting it, it's a business case to get behind it and advocate for it within your team and champion that change management. A fool with the tools is still a fool, So don't necessarily look at your peers sometimes to understand what's best for your business, right? Understand your business first, what you're trying to get from it, and then consider, hey, this technology might be the right fit for me. That's it. That's what I got. Thanks.
So, talked a little about yesterday. I'll give you my perspective, like the trajectory of using technology within the restaurant and exploring growth. I think, as we've known, like technology has been getting bombarded at us in the last couple of years. It changes very quickly. We also get now via I'm even getting it through Instagram, through whatever, like all channels. Like, oh, you're a restaurant owner, you have this problem. You start getting basically advertised to all these new technology offerings. From a higher scale, people are asking what's your tech stack look like. That's a new fun word, tech stack. Like, what are you using to optimize your business? And like Steven was saying, like you need to understand what your business needs first. But also, I kind of want to, from an operations standpoint, we talked about this yesterday of like where we're at, and the reason this is important is that I just want to show you like our implementation and how things have happened, because it definitely has not happened all at once. And there's definitely been a lot of errors along the way. And as Steven also mentioned, is as you're implementing technology, the vetting of this technology, not only to understand that the solution is, that's what he was describing first, like understand your business, the canvas, where's your pinpoint, what type of technology do I need? But it's also understanding the ecosystem of which your technology lives in, right? If you have a particular point of sale, and then you're trying to integrate an inventory system, and they're not talking the same language, one's talking Spanish, the other one's talking Mandarin, they're not understanding each other. And then you start getting all these glitches. And you know what happens with those glitches? A lot more hours than you were previously spending in trying to fix this problem that you already do not have. Let's be real, right? We're all struggling. That's why we think like a lot of the technology is like the little unicorn that's gonna come and save the world. And most of the time it's not. So understanding how that technology will not only what it's claiming that it's going to solve, how it integrates into your existing ecosystem is equally important, because not the setback that will cause is honestly that it's not going to solve your problem because they're not going to be talking to each other. And then the hours that you're like, well, it becomes this like, I've already invested so many hours, so let me keep putting more hours. And then you end up being like, F this, let me just grab an Excel sheet and do it, and it is what happens. And it's the most frustrating thing, because then I start going back and saying like, well, if I put a dollar amount to how much trying to implement this technology actually cost me, not only potentially from the hours from the team implementing the system within, but then recovering when things don't go the right way, right? It's like the potential recovery to guests, because the system was showing one price, but it was another because it didn't talk properly. So it is very important that you really understand, again, how everything works together. So for us, we opened in 2016. I honestly don't even remember the POS we opened with. It was like the tiniest thing for a retail shop. It was very clear probably within a couple weeks that it was not really gonna work for us, but open for that. There was basically no integrations. At the time, I remember we just had like 4 different tablets. Nothing was talking to each other. Any order that would come in through third party, we were putting in manually. A lot of orders were being missed by the team and the re-entering in the system, or they weren't being entered correctly. Trying to navigate how to reconcile the fees. Like that was the universe that we were living in. Had very limited data through this POS, but we were just getting started and it was better than paper and pencil, I suppose, right? Then 2018, we implemented a much more robust web-based POS. that launched our loyalty program through that POS. We're able to have a lot more versatility with our menu through that, meaning like being able to like put out happy hour menus at certain times. I know it sounds very basic, but not every POS can do that. Having things that are grouped for those of you that have more casual restaurants. Like, oh, it's not every POS can do. Well, if you buy, 2 samosas, you can get a free drink, or if you buy 3, the price drops. So there's a lot of things that you want to think ahead as you're vetting. Like, what does your menu look like? What in the future you might want to be doing with your menu, and how, if you're looking into a multi-unit scenario, also it's like, do you have the versatility to change that? There's things that have come up like with different time zones. If you have one menu and you're trying like one POS, trust me, some of them can't handle different time zones. So if you have a restaurant in the West Coast and one on the East Coast, and you're trying to do menu management through one system, they don't understand that happy hour at 5 is different than happy hour at 5 in LA. So, it changes. So those are some things that you want to keep in mind. We implemented scheduling system as well, just had a lot more visibility in the reporting. Then a big savior around 2019 was a third-party order aggregation system. What that means is a system that takes all those third-party orders and just automatically puts us through to a POS, which talks to the kitchen, no more manual entry, and from an operations standpoint, I would say very much worth it. And again, accounting standpoint, very much worth it. And then also trying to shift those online sales to direct sales, so we are avoiding fees, implemented direct online ordering. 2020, we know what happens. We all had to, readjust our modules, so implemented very quickly, actually, QR code ordering and kiosk ordering when the pandemic hit. 2021, we brought in an inventory and ordering management system. Basically, you're snapping a photo of your invoices. They already know where it's coded in QuickBooks, the right GL code. Eliminating a lot of hours from our teams, so like putting in manual line by line, again, avoiding errors. Not that it comes without errors, but just a lot more streamlined system. 2022 marketing CRM, how do we reach our customers better? That says email marketing, push notifications. And then 2023, we launched a custom app. We did a lot in tech last year. We did a custom app launch, which was a complete failure. I'll tell you about that. Then we launched an R&M, so repairs and maintenance, across 6 locations has become pretty unmanageable at this point. So how to understand that piece of the business, because as Stephanie was mentioning earlier, like how do we keep that to that 1.5%? How do we make sure that people understand their budgets? How do we have visibility and approval? And there's just a lot more. It became a pinpoint for us, and again, that's as you scale, but that was one thing that has been very helpful for us. Then digital management. Again, digital management is your Google page, your Yelp page. Like if you have to close early one day, again, 6 locations means that you have to go through Yelp, Google, TripAdvisor, your own page, like 4 times 6 to change an hour. Like that becomes, again, very time consuming. You're missing something. So managing that space of how we can like blast things out all together, and having a system, and review management as well, mainly to obtain as much data as we can and the performance, and also like kind of intercept for with a lot more targeted questions for us, how people are really feeling about our food, about our service. Are the bathrooms clean? Again, I cannot be everywhere at once, right? And I want to be here with you guys sometimes. So it's like, how do we get visibility through our ecosystem on that? So it's like every time you dine at one of our restaurants, immediately you're getting an email, right? Not immediately, like probably like 30 minutes, you're getting an email. And then that is connected to what you ordered. So how was your Cuban sandwich? Were the bathrooms clean? Did the manager greet you? Like, we're getting more information, and then you get a score that they're scoring you. If you have a bad review, which we all know happens, then we have the opportunity, rather than it being in the Yelp ecosystem, to directly reach out to that guest and try to recuperate that guest. If it's a great one, simultaneously also be like, great, like having that direct email that you don't get the access to with Yelp or Google sometimes. So we have the ability to control that, but also we're seeing like a score. How are we scoring in food? How are we scoring per menu item, right? So like, I can tell, well, guys, that seasonal empanada we launched that last month was a success, but that croqueta, not so much, right? So we were able to see how people are feeling, and then it helps us make future decisions. So, and then you remember how I said catastrophic launch app on 2023? We launched again in January 1st, an app already. That was probably the quickest turnaround I will tell you, but. And then we also, again, because things weren't properly talking to each other, we relaunched another scheduling system that would allow us to, connect our budgets and the team to really sync up with, their actual clock-ins to the budget, so everything is living in one. Yeah, so well, I guess I'll talk a little bit more about, again, that example of the app. I felt at the time we asked all the questions. It actually was a lot more than an app. It was, we were trying to combine our marketing CRM, the app, online ordering, into what was sold as a beautiful package, right? And I quite frankly fell with a few other people that I'm like, way bigger than us. Well, if this person's using it, it must be good, right? I feel like there's a lot of that happens and that we tend to do, that we think that because someone's larger than us, they know better than us. First of all, you know your business better than anyone else. That's number one, right? Your problem, as Steven said, is not everyone else's problem. And also, when you sign up for these things, it's very hard to get out of them. So they might be having the same problems that you have, but simply haven't been able to get out. But you as a customer might not be seeing that. And yes, you can ask them, is this solution working for you, if you know them, and then, depending on the contract and so forth, they might be open, they might not be. But in this case, it was, again, a big solution, actually, with not only big fees, but big implementation fees that took a very long time, both in collaboration of design from our team and like making sure like the systems were flowing from like our tech side. So countless hours. So, tell you the story, we were supposed to actually launch in January of 23, end up launching in August. That's how delayed they were, because the things from the get-go weren't like, well, this is not talking to each other. Even though you told me you integrated with my POS, now my gift cards are not really talking, so how am I gonna do that? Well, loyalty piece is like, well, you really didn't tell me that the loyalty would only work at the counter, but guess what? I have QR code ordering, I have kiosk ordering. So if someone now goes to the kiosk and places the order, they're not getting their loyalty. So all this, we thought we solved most that was critical, but had already spent thousands and thousands of dollars that we had paid them already in implementation, plus so many hours, that we decided to launch in August. That then cost us probably over 200 hours of guest recovery, because again, things weren't talking, and all of a sudden the prices would go from whatever was set in the system to zero. So orders were coming in, like, think about this, of like items, a sandwich, and then like the croquetas are no price. But like the price was there yesterday. All of a sudden they would disappear, right? Like things like that. And tried through every channel, had a big contract attached to this. Hey, how do, what's happening? We started documenting absolutely everything, right? Document everything in email, like things weren't getting solved. And thankfully my concern was always, how I said yesterday, we're putting the money to the guest facing. How do we get out of this quickly, but without taking away like that fact that they now have an app that, is supposed to increase our speed, our sales. So was able to actually get on a beta through using my network, right? You always use your network, through our POS system, which is very large, which probably most of you use, and actually launch an app, within a matter of weeks. That actually works. What took basically a whole year to implement that was disastrous. We were able to course correct, but it cost us a lot of money. Again, it's not only the cash going out, it was error orders, like the money in orders that didn't come in because the things weren't flowing properly, or money, again, customer acquisition, like they tried the app, it sucked, so now they're not, the whole thing. And it can be very, very expensive. So do not take these decisions lightly. A lot of these platforms are incredibly great tools to help you manage your business, but you need to make sure that you're vetting them thoroughly. Again, how does it live in your ecosystem? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? And see the competitors. Negotiate the prices. That's the other piece. They'll come to you, hey, this is what we're doing, blanket, okay, this is what it costs per month. You have negotiating power. You want to make sure that you're taking a look at those contracts, that you're pushing back, that you are also able to get out of them. And I will underline that. A lot of them will have long contracts that, you have to commit to this much. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to make sure that it works for me first, right? You have to be able to get out of them. And initially, so they can, but they will revise, most of them will revise the contracts. And I would say that's the main thing. It's if you think you vetted it out, you make sure to ask all the right questions. I would even suggest having a list of understanding, hey, what's your main system? What does it need to talk to? Making sure that from an integration standpoint it works. And then also finding out who the competitors are. Why? They might be better than the competitors, and that's fine. You can also use, getting what the other people are doing, how much it costs is leverage for you, but also asking the same questions and even asking them how do you compare to that person? Because they're salespeople, they're trying to sell each other, or be I'm better than someone else. So they might have some information that the other person might not disclose. Okay. And when they're going through their pitches, also, one thing that I've learned that I think is very useful, don't have them, I don't want to see your presentation. Sure, see the presentation initially. You want to go through a live demo, A live demo, I want to actually see how this works, because it has happened to me that what they say they can do doesn't actually happen. Oh, well, that was in beta. It's on testing, but you signed this. I'm paying right now. You didn't tell me this wasn't going to work for 3 more months, or you don't have a release date yet. That doesn't work for me. You're getting your full amount now. So those are the types of things that, again, do not rush into these decisions out of FOMO. I'm I'm missing out. They're not getting the sales. This is going to solve all my problems. None of these things are unicorns. They are tools to make you better. So just I kind of mentioned what we did, but order aggregation I think is one that's very important. You have kitchen display systems, online and app ordering, point of sale systems, tablet ordering, just things that help you become more efficient and enhanced. Review management, digital management, loyalty. I think loyalty has become increasingly very important across different levels of restaurants. Inventory and ordering systems, that's one, you want your accounting organized, and I think that easier, but that is one that I would say the implementation takes very, very long. Very, very long. That's equally when they're oh, switching from Margin Edge to Extra Chef or whatever, it's so much manpower behind that, so that's also something to kind of allocate in the budget, right? It's it's not only what the platform's costing you as the cash you're putting out, but also on manpower, because then that's hours that you're taking, let's say your chef from being in the kitchen, so now that has to be replaced by hourly labor, and then well, you're trying to, they're not easy systems to implement. I mentioned repair and maintenance and marketing CRM. I think we kind of talked a little bit about all this already, but integrating into the ecosystem is like the one that I will highlight, and just be very strategic on making a choice, right? Of like, what do you need the most? Because again, the constant bombardment, like, oh, this is gonna help me fill my restaurant. This is gonna help me do this. You can't afford everything all at once. It adds up pretty quickly. So be very strategic, and then create a timeline. It's like kind of onboarding people as you grow your team, you're growing this tech stack. What do you need this year? What will you need next year as you've grown? Like, at what revenue points certain things become unmanageable. Negotiate, and then, like I said, compare. Even though they reached out to you first, or your friend is using them, who else is doing the same thing? Because right now, for every solution, there's like at least 10 behind them. We're in the world where like the last 2 years, so much has come out. And that's just, I'll finish with this. Because things are coming out so quickly, there's also a lot of bugs within these systems, right? They're not like fully developed. It has become a race of like who launches first so they can get the market acquisition component. And again, they're not fully developed, which is, again, I urge you to make sure that you go through live demos, not these recordings, because it's happened, and I've seen it many times already. Any questions?
I think we're out of time though.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
questions for those office hours.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Daniella.
Can you hear me yet?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. I have the clicker, I have my notebook, I have my bottle of water. Hello!
Awesome job. Great sharing experience.
Clicker not working. Clicker. I just pushed the right button, right? No.
I'll move this slide.
Thank you. I'm going to put my notes right in front of you. You can look at them. It's fine. I know, it's so glittery. First of all, as a marketer, I spend a lot of time on TikTok, and I have to tell you, the fits in this room are impeccable. You all look incredible, and I've probably complimented your shoes or your glasses or something at this point, so I just want to say good job, y'all. You look amazing. I'm a diehard Southwest girly, okay? How many Southwest people are in here? Probably not that many. Because I know the limitations. Southwest has long had a technology problem. You guys remember last year when they had like the absolute complete meltdown, and everyone who complained immediately got A-list preferred, so I hope you got that. On my way here to New York, actually, you probably have heard my horror story at this point, they lost my baggage. So yesterday, I was wearing an outfit bought that morning at Loft, by my husband actually, but like, beside the point. The problem was with their technology platform is they've given guests the ability to look up where their bags are in the process. And so even while I was traveling here, it kept saying, scanned in Austin, and every person I spoke to said, oh, no, they're here. They're on the plane with you. And then I landed in LaGuardia, and they're like, oh, just go look in this back room. They should be over here for you. And I was like, but it still says scanned in Austin. Like, they're still in Austin. Also, I had an air tag, so I knew they were in Austin. And they were like, no, it's totally fine. They're here right now. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They lied to me. It's like questioning my faith in Southwest. So this is like an issue when you give technology in the hands of consumers and they hold you to it. Oh, you better be right. You better be absolutely right. Because as each person has said, garbage in, garbage out. Like, if you are not giving people the right information and they're trying to hold you to that, it's a brand problem. Anyway, I love this quote from Danny. We all love him, right? I think Andy gave a really good example yesterday of putting his name on a wait list and someone Googling his name. I hope you guys are all Googling your customers' names. Be as creepy as possible because it's totally worth it. This is me. How many Ladams in the audience? All right. Okay, Ladams has a bit of a branding problem. I will tell you that the Austin chapter, of which I am president, is badass. And like, we do some amazing stuff. Get money from them and then join. So just do that. The Don says coffee, yeah. Yes, New York chapter. No other big.
I do IT on my moonlighting or daylighting stuff. Thank you. Let's see.
Is that better? I don't know. I'm just kind of loud in general. But you let me know if I need to get the microphone fixed again. I work for this guy right here. He has a 98% approval rating in the world. He's only one of 3 people that has that. Jackie Chan is another, and I don't remember the third. Doesn't matter. Can I cuss? Are y'all fine with that? Because I work for Shaquille O'Neal, I can't fuck up. I absolutely cannot, because it is his brand on the line, right? So every time I send out an email or a text message or a loyalty update, I know in the back of my mind, oh God, I can't fuck up because this is going to be screenshot, it's going to be shared with everyone. So I think everyone here should pretend they work for Shaquille O'Neal and just give yourself that level of like excellence. A little bit about.
Sorry. I said anxiety.
Yes.
Excellence is a better word.
It is a little bit of anxiety until you meet him, and he's like the kindest man. He's so funny. Like, he is exactly what you expect. He tells a lot of jokes. Some of them are really inappropriate, and I love that. So Big Chicken. I don't know, those of you who have tried Big Chicken, we serve chicken sandwiches, tenders, shakes. They are really good. They are cheat day meal. Like, we're doing a campaign right now that's Go Grilled. I know that like our grilled chicken sandwiches still are like terrible. Like, don't eat it if you're trying for any kind of like personal goal. We have 15 locations right now, 20 under construction currently. That's always shifting. We're opening 2 more in the next 3 weeks. We have 300 franchisees in our pipeline right now. It's insane, the growth that we're experiencing. We're also in 5 arenas, casinos, and airports, and 4 cruise ships. We're at the Walmart of the Sea. Y'all know which brand that is? Carnival. That's right. That's right. But everyone has a good time. It's literally a captive audience, so like I love it. Like, the reviews coming back from our cruise ships are just amazing. We have a 14.50 average ticket size, so just kind of gives you guys an idea of like what the average spend is. And of course, co-founded by Shaquille. He does a lot of appearances in our stores. It's always so much fun. He shows up, he hangs out, he eats with people, he takes tons of photos. He won't sign things, which good on him, honestly, because that takes up a lot of time. Okay, so when I was hired to come in as head of marketing for Big Chicken, we had some serious issues. They had no CRM, they had no email platform, they had no texting platform. Yes, ma'am, no CRM. We didn't have anything. We did have an agency that was placing our like Facebook ads, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean Facebook ads? Like, who looks at that? Like, but then I was like, but I don't even know who is our target audience. Maybe it is the Facebook crowd. Thank God it's not. But like, because my mom, anyway. But we also had like a data accuracy issue. Daniella was just mentioning the issue of having to update your hours and your menu items and like close for holidays. We were doing it all manually. And like, it's different. When I started, we had 12 locations, but even that is like just going in and constantly updating. Luckily, we had 2 agencies, but I don't want the agencies doing that. Like, that's a lot of time that I need them focused on other things. And then we had a discoverability issue. Our SEO, SEM was just a mess. No one could find us. You search Big Chicken, you get a lot of really weird stuff. A lot of it is like talking about Tyson chicken and it's evil or whatever. And I was like, well, that's really awful. And then Big Chicken also, if you search Big Chicken on TikTok, you get people holding really big chickens. Which is also really fun, but it was like, that's not quite what we're dealing with. Anyway, we also had to do a deep dive onto like, who is our customer? I found out that it's actually like a 16-year-old male, which is really challenging. So I spend a lot of time on TikTok trying to figure out what the kids are interested in. It's really, really weird. I think I talk like a Gen Zer, but I am firmly Oregon Trail millennial. So like, that's where I am. And then we also had some challenges. We don't have a marketing budget. We didn't have one anyway. Now I've like forced them to give me money. Staffing, I'm it. I have 2 agencies, and then I have a guy who works for Shaquille who sometimes like joins in on the meetings, and that's it in terms of marketing. Now, because we're a big franchise organization, a lot of the franchisees have their own marketing people as well, which is very helpful. They don't know anything. anything. And so I've had to like train them on like all the different platforms. This is what this means. This is how you should be responding to reviews on Ovation, like all of that kind of stuff. Customer acquisition, that was a challenge, but not that bad actually, because people were curious. It's a restaurant owned by Shaquille O'Neal. They're just like, yeah, I'm gonna flock to it. And then they wouldn't come back. We only had a 29% retention. It's not great, right? And again, the food is not your everyday food. You're not gonna go in there. It is gilding the lily whenever you go in there. And then in terms of our marketing technology, we needed to figure out, do we want an all-in-one solution? Like Toast POS, right, has a lot of tools in one, but are they the best tools? No, they're not. And so we had to really figure out, okay, if we're gonna do best in class and choose all these different platforms, they absolutely, to Daniella's point, need to talk to each other. And so that was a big challenge for us. All right, so now I'm gonna get into like what didn't work. Okay, these puck alerts. Puck alerts to let people know that their food is ready causes anxiety. They're just like waiting for this little thing on the table, and then it, and you're just like, oh my God, like I just wanna eat my food. Like it's just very disturbing. Not a good hospitality experience. We also tried to do cell phone alerts to let people know in a very calm way that your food is ready. No one reads it. They sit down at the table and they're talking to their friends or their family, which is awesome, but like they're not reading it. And so we figured out the best way to let people know is to just call their name. Like Starbucks has it right. Like we just call out their name and it's totally fine. Side note, anytime I list my name for something, I always list Batman because then I get to go up and go, and it's just epic and it makes everyone's day. Okay, centralized materials. We were using one print house in Las Vegas where we're based out of and mailing it out. It's very expensive when we're mailing stuff to like Renton outside of Seattle and Miamisburg in Ohio and Philadelphia. Like, oh, that was just so expensive. So we don't do that anymore. Geofencing. Y'all familiar with geofencing? Targeted ads? Not worth it. Like absolutely not worth it. I've tried multiple different systems to try and do it. Basically, you're setting a geographic boundary of when I want people to see advertising from Big Chicken. Unfortunately, because of all the different cell phone regulations that have changed, so few people actually opt into those ads. And when they do, it's like a really weird ad on like a little internet game or an internet app that you've downloaded or whatever. And you'll see that ad and you're like, oh God, this is so annoying, but I have to wait 15 seconds for it to go away. It's not good use of money. And then I mentioned the agency that was placing our ads. They didn't do a great job, honestly. They would place the ad, but we would never find out like how did it perform. And then I found out that one of our franchisees, who Amanda knows, spent $30,000 in Facebook ads in 2023 and did not see any report on like how it went. And I was like, okay, we need to give them like a place they can choose their own budget and they can actually see their reports. Okay, what did? Local printing. I know. It's a dog. I chose that on purpose so that everyone would be like, oh, cute. Local printing. So what we do with local printing is we're working with, we're launching a relationship with Staples right now. There's a Staples in every community, everywhere we have restaurants. And so we can create all the designs in one place and then send them out to Staples and they make them available for print on demand or just download or whatever they want to do. This is working really, really well. Digital asset manager. Y'all know what a DAM is? Damn, God, they're so important, and yet I was just telling Michael that like, I have franchisees still that are like, hey, I need this document. I'm like, yeah, I uploaded it to FranConnect. That's what we use for our franchise like communication tool. And they're like, can you just email it to me? And you have to just constantly train like the GMs of your other locations and things like that to just say like, I really need you to learn how to log in and like download this. And so it's taken a lot. I still emailed it to him, but like, it's working, right? Giving people one central area to find all the assets they need is really important. Now, I will not let them have access to our logo, and I won't let them have access to Shaquille O'Neal images because I wish I had some examples up here to show you of like some of the crazy shit I've seen people do with Shaquille. Like we have some photos of him like pointing because we use it for like food flyers or whatever, and he's like pointing to like local sports team or something like that, and it's just like, no. Local contests. Every time we open up a new store, we give away a piece of Shaquille O'Neal merchandise. And that has been the best way for us to start our list at every location, is to give them an incentive to do it. We run a 30-day contest, scan the QR code, give us your information. It's a great way to start what you're doing with your local like customers, basically. So you start to get their information. Same thing too, scan for updates. I didn't think this was gonna work. We just have like an 8.5 by 11 near the register, and we were like, hey, scan for big chicken updates. There's no incentive, but they do it. They give me their information for free, which is amazing. Like, you wouldn't believe like how many people actually do that.
You said that was a QR?
It's just a QR code linked to like a form. We use, I think I'm using JotForm, but I've used FormSite before. FormSite's really nice. It has a lot of like if this then that kind of functionality, which is nice. Okay, Atmosphere TV. Are any of you guys using Atmosphere? No. That's where our cute little friend here came from. So we have TV screens in our restaurants, not a ton, not 75 like Greg mentioned yesterday at Ojos Locos. You know, that's insane. But we do have TVs in there, and we weren't really using them effectively. And so we signed up for Atmosphere TV. It's a $25 activation fee, and then it's completely free as long as you play videos for 40 hours a month. That's it, 40 hours a month, and everyone has their TV screens on. And then you can choose like what kind of channels you want to have available, whether that's Chive TV or like Cuteness Overload, or people like the fail videos. I'm not a big fan of fail videos. It makes me feel bad. I like the win videos instead. And then trivia, just like an automated trivia thing, has been really great. People just sit there and they'll do the trivia, and then they're like, you know what, let's just order a shake, or let's get another side of the mac and cheese, which is like awesome. Ambiance radio, we're using for radio. You know, you can kind of set your own channel for radio, similar to using like Spotify or whatever. But what's awesome is you can also upload your own audio commercials that play throughout the day in your restaurant, which is really great. So right now I have Shaquille O'Neal. I'm not going to do an impression of him. I told myself I would not do it. Yeah. Stop. But he'll say things like during the holidays, he was like, hey, I'm not going to do it. Hey, big chicken fan, this is Shaquille O'Neal. Thanks for coming. Anyway, he's got a really deep voice. And so he just welcomed people or whatever. And it was just like a fun little reminder, you know, because we don't want to go overboard with Shaquille too much, but we do. And so just having his voice in there, or it could be your voice or anyone else's, it doesn't really matter, just as like a reminder. And so he would talk about, hey, don't forget to check out our catering. Don't forget to like look at this. And like we just appreciate you being here, which was nice. This is probably not for most of you, but it's called hyperlocology, and it's what I use to place all of my digital ads. It's really, really robust. If you want to talk about an office hours, I definitely can. Marquee is what we use for all of the menu management and hours management. It is awesome. These guys come from the industry. They're really good. And then Radiant is what we use for our digital menu boards. So that's working out really, really well. Too early to tell. We're using Amazon One for payment in one of our locations. That's where you scan your palm, you know, or whatever. That's not scary. They already have it. They already know. It's fine. Oh, just let the robots win, y'all. Drive-through, we're testing out with Howard Company. I mentioned Staples, and we're getting ready to test kiosk as well. I'm a big fan of kiosk ordering because like it really helps people order all the like fattening shit they're not supposed to without like feeling judged by like the Gen Zer in front of them.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. I thought you were like,
This is not
stop.
a warning. This is a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your process to evaluate for the ones that are in the too early to tell?
Oh, okay. Well, so basically, I thought Amazon One was cool as shit. So I was like, let's do that. We would only be the second restaurant doing it. Panera's doing it. We'd be the second. And so for me, it was about headlines, frankly. I wanted to get those headlines. I don't really care if people use Amazon One to pay. I think it's cool. We just want to give the option.
Sorry, I mean evaluate the success of the ones that are here.
Oh, these guys?
No, of the too early to tell. So you chose Amazon One because it was cool and you're getting headlines. What will make you decide it was successful and you will stick with Amazon One, drive through all this?
Honestly, usage. Amazon One takes up a lot of real estate at the counter where people are checking out. And so if I do see a significant portion of people actually using it, then we'll keep with it. In terms of the drive-through solution, it's not cheap to put together all these digital boards that are sitting outside and then use people to order it. Frankly, it's can we upsell? Can we upsell in the drive-through? So that's going to be a good call for us. Staples usage, again, like are the franchisees actually going to use it? And then kiosks, I want to see the average ticket volume or ticket price go up. So that'll be a good one for us there.
And like just to give you reference, like people that order through the kiosks for us, we see a 14% higher check average than if they ordered through a person, because as but also like they get prompts like you want to add this to your order. And as much as we try, realistically, you know, the people in the front are like, if you see a line, they're not asking all the questions. They're just like, let's get through this line. So it's just like, you know, they just go through the motions and don't really try to upsell. So the kiosk does, I see it two ways. I don't love the fact that it kind of dehumanizes the part a little bit, but it does give results. So for sure.
Is that similar to like QR code ordering? Would you say like the results are similar?
Oh, the results?
I would say the results are similar, but I will say that backlash on QR is actually a lot higher than kiosk. People are like friendlier, like people don't like QR codes. You know, like we've changed, like we have the QR codes at the table, but then we provide them with an actual printed menu, because what we've seen is you're not getting the large screen that you're getting on a kiosk. So then trying to go through the entire menu on your phone, it takes number one forever, and then you can't really see the big picture. Like, you know, you can't do a scan of what the whole menu actually looks like. So we kind of like try to get the best of both worlds by providing a printed menu and then still have the option for people to order at the table.
Sure. This is my last slide on loyalty. So we originally started with custom software. We're now moving to an enterprise thing, similar to Daniella. Like we had a limited rollout. Oh God, no. And so now we're moving to something. We did negotiate a 90-day out clause. We do this with all of our technology solutions. They hate it, and I'm like, I don't care. 90 days in, if it doesn't work for us, we get our money back. Just do it. Just add it in. Like, yeah, let's see what they say. The early tests have proved very positive. We're looking at both discount-based rewards and affinity-based rewards. I have a calculator if you're interested during office hours on like how to measure like what a discount-based reward actually costs you as an operator, and like there's a metric that you want to stick to, so you're not giving away the farm essentially. Affinity-based rewards I think are really, really interesting. For me, it's access. So there's a skip. They always tell you like make it access, like skip the line. I'm never doing that. It always feels awkward when people say like I'm just gonna go in front of all these people standing here. No good. But because of who our co-founder is, we have access to things that other people don't, like tickets to Lakers games or events, special events or something like that. And so we're letting people build up all their reward points so that they can then cash them in for like a really cool event, which I think is pretty unique. I did not like the Humble Punch Card. They were like, just in the meantime, until we launch our thing, let's just get punch cards. I was like, we're not a coffee shop. Like, just don't want to. We've had only a 15% return on them. So like people love them. They will do them all the time, but only 15% of people have actually brought them back in to get their 10th off rate for free, which is kind of interesting. But it works. It works. People feel good about it. You know, they like this sort of physical thing about it. Just a couple of tips. Marketing, you should be spending about 2 to 6% of your sales on marketing. Please, God, give the marketing people some money. Definitely don't skimp on packaging for off-premise, especially when you can get branded stuff. I know it's expensive, but if you can make it work, it always does help. And then, in terms of like getting your GMs or anyone else you have on your marketing team, give them room to experiment, but make sure they communicate with you. I had a franchisee just this past week. They posted a collaboration they did with an influencer and they never told us at the brand level. We were like, it was bad. And then Ad Age actually puts out an article every month on TikTok trends. Highly recommend reading that. It can be really, really helpful. And it's just weird. It's like exploring like a different world.
What's it called?
Ad Age, the magazine, Ad Age. Yeah, so online they do like a blog post every month or so about that. I didn't talk to you about that. So we do run some TikTok ads. TikTok really wants you to spend $20,000 a month at least in order to like really be seen by people, and that's what some of the bigger brands are doing. And I let them take me to lunch several times, and they're just like, no, like, I'm not going to do that. That's a lot. But yeah, that's what I got published. I'm looking at and for permission. Yes.
Hey, this is actually relational to CRM,
Yeah.
as it relates to marketing CRM versus client CRM.
Yeah.
So you mentioned when you were starting out with Shop, the challenges that you were facing was like data integrity. You needed to set up the emails, the CRM, and then that was what you needed. And then the challenges were like your customer acquisition and your client retention. earlier she was talking about a marketing CRM she uses in her company. My question to you now is, with Shaq's company, given that he has so many locations, I would think that how many like clients per se you get, but it's probably considered more like on the large size versus like mid-size. What marketing CRM are you using, and do you have a client CRM, or are you just using one CRM that has integrations?
So for client CRM, do you mean like for potential franchisees?
For the clients would be like a consumer.
So
like I would be like,
CRM.
yeah, like a consumer.
So right now I'm cobbled together like several things because our loyalty platform is going to be our CRM. So they have the ability to do that.
Okay.
And so I'm going with them on that. So in the meantime, I'm using Twilio, SendGrid, Textedly, Adentro. Really, I've put together like a Frankenstein to make the CRM work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you using loyalty, like the company loyalty.com, or you have a different loyalty
It's a
program?
different loyalty company.
Okay.
When I'm not mic'd
Thanks.
up, I'll tell you.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
Just a question about digital marketing.
Can you all
versus,
speak a little louder?
digital marketing versus flyers that you get in the mailbox. Like, did you have any thoughts on that, or like?
Yeah, so we've started, so her question is about digital marketing versus physical marketing or grassroots marketing. We have started to use EDM mailers, which is a lot cheaper, honestly, to like get out there as opposed to doing postcards where you have to buy the addresses and buy the postage and all that. So EDM has actually resulted in a pretty decent return because we can tell who's ordering based on the coupon codes that they're doing, which has been pretty good. I am a digital marketer at heart, and I love the data that comes back from digital marketing, so I really like spending a lot of money there, and then a smaller percentage in physical and grassroots. ED, I know, I thought they were talking about like dance music.
Actually, Steven has a few questions for both Daniella and Anna panel style, and then everyone will be at office hours this afternoon for further questions.
Awesome. Can I be Robin? Batman?
You can't. It's not quite as cool. We all know that.
I think that's rocking. Super cool. So yeah, thank you both. I think some of these case studies and these kind of examples of real life experiences are super helpful. And you can see kind of like what won and what lost for them specifically, right? And kind of use that to integrate into your thinking and your thought process around potential future technology adoptions for your businesses. I guess I'm curious a little bit, and maybe the group is, I'm hoping you are, marketing hat, right? I've kind of put it on at times and taken it off, and like, any entrepreneur kind of wears many hats. But if I was going to start a new hospitality business, right, let's just say in the next 12 to 24 months, from a marketing perspective, can we talk about foundational technology, right? Like, you talk about like some of these things that I think are awesome, right? But like sometimes there's a dependency here. You can't do this unless you do this first.
Yeah.
So if I was going to try to like, let's say, enhance, optimize, or mature my technology stack as it relates to marketing, what are the core pieces that need to be there first in order to do some of those upper level kind of exercises?
I guess from our end, I would say like email marketing has proven to be pretty successful for us, and because again, it depends on your POS, and if you have loyalty that's integrated, anytime someone's signing up for loyalty or getting you in an email receipt, and you receive that email, and yes, they have to opt in, but we have a lot of emails, right? And about every time we send an email, which is about once a week, we have about like 22% open rate, which is pretty significant. So it's pretty significant. It's our customer. It's because again, most of those emails are coming from people already coming in, and to be able to get them back, and they're not the best. As saying it's like it's not the marketing platforms like that are built in, right? Like no one does everything the best, right? But if you're starting up, like I would say, at Toast or other POSs have email marketing tools that you can add as an additional integration. What do they call it? Yeah. Module. Sorry, I think an additional module to your existing platform. So it's not a big uplift. That they're talking to each other, but there are definitely better ones that are more precise and are able to prettier templates and so forth. So It just depends where you're looking for, but I would say email marketing.
Email marketing. Anything other?
Yeah, I would not start with loyalty, right? That's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. Like, that's weird. Only thing that happens in Utah. Okay, so I would definitely go with email marketing for sure. I love text-based marketing. I think that is super fun too, and a cell phone number is really, really valuable. Unfortunately, if someone stops like the messaging there, like it can be really difficult to get them to come back on. So you have to be very careful about how often you're actually doing that. So I would say, yeah, going with a CRM where you're starting to understand your customer and you're getting a little bit more information demographic-wise about them can be very helpful. You can also then download that list of emails, run it through Facebook, create a lookalike audience, and then use that to place Instagram ads. And that can be like a really good way to sort of get started because you need people to know about you before you can.
Can you repeat that one more time?
I'm sorry.
Get a little.
Sorry. Okay, so that is nice. You take the email addresses that you're getting from people giving them to you for free, and then you run that through Facebook, and so they can create a targeted lookalike audience for you, right? So you're understanding, okay, based on these email addresses, it matches it to all the profiles, and then from those profiles, you can see what are they actually interested in. So it turns out they're all golfers or cat ladies or something like that. And then they will actually create what's called a lookalike audience, and then you can use that lookalike audience, which is a lot bigger than your initial, like say 100 email addresses. They'll give you 1,000 for your lookalike audience, and then you can use that for targeting for Instagram ads, because Facebook owns Instagram.
And prior to that, you mentioned the phone numbers, right? So what are you using for that?
People just count it.
I know, but you get your phone number, then what do you use to put that message in?
Oh, Textedly. I'm using Textedly. It's probably the most affordable platform out there, and it's really easy to use. Textedly. Textedly.
How do you run through Facebook?
For your lookalike
Yes.
audiences, can you?
So also a question about the lookalike audiences. When you're uploading the subscriber emails to Facebook, is that different than what you mentioned earlier, geofencing?
That's different, yeah.
For the Facebook lookalike audiences, because I do this a lot, you need to have the pixel set up, so I think it's important that people know that.
You have to have the pixel set up. We're diving into digital marketing like details, like there's a lot within that. So
Yeah, I think again, like, I don't want to be like a broken record, but like, yeah, all these solutions are super awesome. They work great for some people, right? They work great for other people. Take them as reference points, right? But do your diligence, right? Understand your business, how it's going to be applicable, and then ultimately, like, how does it really drive revenue or save you money, right? Like, it'd be cool to do like what Batman does, right? But like, do I really need to be Batman right now, right? I need to be me, and I just need to be a better form of me, right? So I think all of these things are really good reference points, but understanding your business, right, and applying that to your business, and then, something that I thought was awesome was like, how do you define success, right? Like, it's super important, right? Like, how do you define success? 14% uptick in ticket size? That sounds like success to me, right? So like, cool, take a reference, do your diligence, bring it on board 90 days, see if that ticket price goes up by 14%, and if it does, success. And if it's 5%, well then maybe there's a better solution out there for me, right? Because I didn't achieve the goal that I was looking to achieve.
oh yeah, move fast. Very, very
For sure.
stuff.
The one thing that I thought I heard both of you talk about, and I think it's important for everybody in the room to understand, is like data aggregation, right? Things speaking to each other. Ancillary systems within an environment are ancillary data sets, meaning that like my telephone number stays here and doesn't go over there. And if it needs to go over there, I have to do that manually, right? I have to do an extract of an Excel or CSV file. I need to upload it into another system. That's hours, that's time, that's labor, that's manual error, right? Keystroke error, all of that stuff. So there are advantages to a single stack solution or a source solution, or having technologies that speak well, right? Or doing some sort of aggregation layer. Can you guys talk a little bit around like just data aggregation and from like, an operations or marketing perspective, how important it is to have systems talk to each other, and then like maybe, let's talk about the positive things. When it really works well, what happens? Okay, talk about negative stuff.
So when it works well, it's great, right? But one thing I will say is when you're looking at one of these solutions, you have to make sure that you still own your data, right? Remember, third party, they're evil. And so like, they will keep your data and never let you have access to it. So that's really important. So if you can move people to first party, so you actually get to keep their information, that's really important. Now, in terms of like when it all works, it just feels like magic, right? It is really incredible. But I will tell you, like right now, because we're still working on this enterprise CRM, I spend a lot of my time still uploading lists and cross-referencing and stuff like that, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I will say, you know, again, we all can't be the sweet greens and kavas, right? Like right now, we're not there yet. We aspire to be there. We will get there, but we're not there yet, right? So we can't build custom solutions that work perfectly for us. So we have to leverage what we got, right? And like make things work. And it's very important that they do talk to each other. And I've gone back from going outside to solutions that appear to be better because they have potentially more functionalities, including like I mentioned, the scheduling system and then the app that, you know, I went back to Toast. Yes, are there better solutions that specialize in that particular thing? But if things are not really talking to each other, then it's not really flowing properly. It's not giving me the data that I need. So is the output actually better? No. Right? And it's actually more cumbersome to manage. So I wouldn't say like right now striving to perfection, but striving to what works, right? Like the other app that I had looked a lot cooler. Was it working? Oh no, right? So like this one works. Does it, you know, have all my fonts and every little thing and I'm like brand obsessed, so like, you know, it doesn't have the little icons that pop. No, you know, you have to get, at the end of the day, you have to make some compromises through this process because developing your own solutions is, I wouldn't recommend even at a much larger size. It just costs a lot of money. So you know, I think leveraging those things and being like, okay, well, this can provide this, and it might, you know, be a little bit more expensive, but is it really talking through it? I think that goes back to the diligence. And so right now, I'm definitely living in the space of just kind of consolidating as much as possible, less things to manage that I already know like are just talking to each other the same language. And again, we've lost some capabilities in certain regards, but I think that the gain, what I'm gaining from that, from a manpower standpoint and not having to download things, makes it worthwhile to me at the moment.
I think that's a great point, right? I think, whatever, I'm not trying to talk about myself. All right, cool. So like I was talking about business requirements, right? The business requirement and the value proposition, or like the mission, the statement around, I'm not getting everything that I've got previously, but I'm getting what I need, right? And I'm getting what I need, and I'm also saving this bandwidth, right? Like people get to go home at night, right? And like see their kids or their family, or like take a day off because they're not sitting there doing all this admin work, right? To be able to get X, Y, and Z piece of information or capability that really isn't delivering value, right? So like, I think that's a really good thing to think about as well, is that like, what do I need? What really is going to drive value for me today and for like, let's say the short-term time horizon? Concentrate on those, right? And then those little others that are nice to have, right? Then those are always things you can strive for, right? And I love the strategic goals around like, you know, 17, 18, 19, this is what my plan is for 24, right? A strategic roadmap in some ways on how you see utilizing technology to a greater degree. You can't do everything in, you know, what is it, Rome isn't built in a day, or whatever that thing is, right? So you can't do it all in 24, but do what's most important to you that'll have the biggest impact for you in 24, right? And then have a vision about where you want to go on the horizon.
And also when you're introducing too many things at once, it's hard to know like what's actually working, right? So you kind of have, especially if they are like within the same ecosystem, like sure you might be moving the needle, but you don't know if it's this or this or this, and so you don't know if you're misspending money here. So that's also something that I feel like I've learned, like sometimes you kind of intentionally, not because you can't afford it, but to really measure the productivity of something or your ROI on it, you need to give time to be able to like just see it by itself.
So I guess another little thing that I'll just throw in here as a note is, it always seems super sexy to build your own technology platform, right? And to say, wow, like, you know, I can get everything that I want, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe I'm weird, I don't know. But I guess I'm the other guy.
That's a weird
Sorry about that, sorry. I guess it's awesome to have something that's customized for yourself and what you believe you need and kind of what you need today and what you believe you'll need in the future. But not only is it difficult from a capital perspective to actually stand that up and realize that, you then have to maintain that year over year, right? And it's something that you're gonna kind of like, I don't know, it's gonna be a child that you're gonna have kind of year over year. I do a lot of work in the transaction space. So like if you think about private equity backing or venture capital backing and things of that sort, right? Sometimes those proprietary systems can also be an impediment from an investment perspective because they see that as a year-over-year operational cost that they're gonna have to incur from an investor's perspective. Whereas a SaaS solution or a commercial grade technology, a lot of the risk is on the platform itself and not on the operator or the owner. And then there's a year-over-year kind of cadence that's in some ways more palatable, right, with less volatility or risk involved than a proprietary system.
I just want to echo that too. I have a really good relationship with our head of technology and IT. That would be bananas if we tried to do custom software, which we did, and there was a lot of friction there. And so now we have a common enemy in like an outside person. And I mean, I do restaurant tech marketing too, so like I know these common enemies pretty well, but like it's nice to be able to hold someone else accountable than someone internally. It just makes for a much more harmonious existence.
There's a certain amount of risk transfer there that's like advantageous for your peace of mind. Right, so like,
And going back, I just love your 90-day clause. Again, it's just like if you need, guys, not everything's gonna work. You're gonna do your due diligence, and sometimes things will fail, and that's fine, just recover quickly. But to be able to recover quickly and make sure that you have your legal aspects, settled as well.
give me the red card, give me the red card.
Here.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. Appreciate your time.